Friends, have you wondered how simple research idea becomes a funded project or PhD or any research admission? So you can't believe me, but thousands of students are rejected just because their research proposals are not clear and convincing. So strong research proposal can change your whole academic career. So hello everyone, I am Dr. Nilesh Kumar and I welcome you all to your favorite channel, My Research Support. So friends, I have written and reviewed dozens of successful research proposals for PhD admissions, funding and postdocs. So in today's video, I'll take you step by step on how to write clear, convincing and impactful research proposal, and along with that we'll also be discussing about how smartly you can make use of AI into whole process. Now let me first discuss about what is research proposal and why it is required. So before moving ahead, we have to keep this in mind that a great research proposal is not just a plan, so it's a promise to create knowledge. Means your understanding and knowledge must be reflected from your research proposal. So in general, a research proposal is a structured plan that would be outlining 4 important points. So first is what, why, how, and the fourth one is your ability. Now what is the first point? Which is research, means what you want to investigate or research. Then the second point, which is again linked with the first point, is its significance, why you want to perform this research, what is its impact and influence on the society. Then once you understood these 2 points, then you have to think about the methodology or methods, means how you will carry out this research, means what instruments you will use, what types of methods you will use in order to collect and analyze the data, etc. And once your research proposal has answered all these 3 questions, then it should also answer demonstration capabilities, means as I said, your understanding and knowledge should be reflected from your research proposal, and your overall research proposal must reflect that you are capable enough to perform all the research activities you have mentioned under your research proposal. Now let me move ahead discussing different types of research proposals. So you can divide research proposals into different types and subtypes. However, for this moment I am dividing these research proposals into 2 domains. So first is research proposals which we write to take PhD admissions or to get postdoc positions, and then another important proposals that we write is to receive fundings or grants. So here as you can see, the key difference in between these 2 research proposals, means admission proposals prove your potential to perform the research activities. However, funding proposals prove your plan, means how effectively you have mentioned each and everything with proper validation. So in general, this PhD postdoc proposals we write to take admissions into academic programs, and the main focus is on your research interest and potential. However, for funding grants proposals, for getting financial support, funding projects, and the main focus is on problem solving, outcomes and budget. So you must need to mention in-depth budget which is required to take instruments to carry out research activities, and that is not required as far as this PhD and postdoc proposals are concerned. Now let me broadly discuss about the structure of these 2 types of research proposals. So this is a basic structure used to develop a research proposal. So this structure is almost common for both types. However, at what depth you will be including all these points may vary a little bit. So as I said before, you can go through this point, budget. So this is generally not required as far as these PhD postdoc proposals are concerned. Also, you need not to mention anything about risk and mitigation, as flexibility would be there within these research proposals, and importantly about these expected outcomes. So when we write these PhD or postdoc research proposals, then those would be evaluated by supervisors, and these supervisors will evaluate all these proposals, and based on that they can see whether valuable referee publications are possible, skill development or knowledge gain is possible from those proposals, or a kind of similar research that will be performing. However, the organizations or committees those would be handling these funding proposals are expecting intellectual product, means after performing this research you can either solve the real world problem or you may register for a patent. So that is the main difference in between the structure we use for admission proposals and funding proposals. Now with some simple examples, we will discuss how to draft all these sections one by one, and most importantly with smart use of AI. However, before we move ahead, you must have fulfilled these 2 prerequisites. So first is you must have finalized your research topic, and second, you must have that research proposal format. That does mean the research proposal format which is followed by different external agencies and universities may be little bit different, and hence you need to follow that format. So in today's video we'll be discussing about some general sections of a research proposal. So you can take specific format and you can fit all the sections into that format. Now let me start and discuss the very first point of your research proposal, and that is title. So the title of your research proposal is the first impression of your whole document. So your title must be impressive and it should be specific, clear and concise. So let me take one simple examples and we will see how to write impactful research title for your proposal. Before that, as we have discussed, I'll be considering this as my research area or topic, online education, and now I need to create an impactful title for the research proposal that I'll be writing under this area or topic. And for that you can use any popular AI tool. However, I personally prefer Paperpal AI as it is academically strong. So this is the main homepage of this Paperpal. I have provided the link in this video description, so you can refer to that. Its interface is again really very much simple. On the left side you will find all the features offered by this Paperpal. However, to start exploring all these features, you have to first click on new web document. You can type main heading as research proposal. Now in order to create an effective title for your research proposal, you need to refer to the right side features. So here you need to click on write, and then you can put this prompt or similar prompts. Suggest 3 clear research titles on online education, and then you will see academically strong and personalized research titles for your proposal. So you may click on retry to get more alternatives, or you can click on this arrow so that you can make these titles maybe contrast, professional. You can click on make it concise, expand it further, or explain this. So you may utilize these options as well to make your title attractive. Otherwise you can click on insert. And now here comes the most important part. So it is not recommended to use either of this AI generated title as it is. So you can definitely take reference of these titles and you may insert few of the important keywords manually. Like I took reference of these types of titles and I have framed my own title, which is impact of online learning on high school student performance. So this title is clear, concise and specific. So this is the correct form of this impactful title. So this can be the incorrect titles: a study on online education, learning and technology in the modern era. This is either too vague or buzzword heavy. Effects of the internet. So it is too broad, we need to be specific. And innovative educational approaches post-COVID. It is trendy but still unclear. So in this way you can frame title for your research proposal. So once the title for your research proposal is finalized, then the second point that you need to write in your research proposal is introduction and background. So believe me, this point really has a very high weightage in your research proposal, because you have a chance to prove yourself, means the importance of your selected research topic. So this entire section can be written by considering these 5 important key points. Let's see. So broad context, relevance of topic, existing research summary, gap in knowledge or literature, purpose of your study. So to properly write and arrange this section, you need to take help of these 5 points. So first you have to start with general background in your field, and then you need to introduce your topic. Then maybe in second paragraph or next part you have to show that why this topic matters, maybe national and international significance. And then in next part you need to write effectively about the existing research summary, means what kind of research has been carried out globally under that topic, and based on that literature review you need to identify literature gaps. Those you need to present under gap in knowledge. And based on this part you have to justify your research topic, means what is the purpose of your study. So let us continue with the same example. So I have written one simple paragraph which shows all these 5 points: second, third, fourth and fifth. So for demonstration purpose only I have considered this single paragraph. However, for most of the research proposals you need to write introduction and background section maybe in 1 to 2 pages or sometimes even more than that. You can go through this text carefully. Now let me discuss what technique you can follow in order to write this introduction and background section for your research proposal by using AI. So this is the same paragraph. That we were discussing here. I have only removed these 5 points, and here the most important part is I have written this whole paragraph in my own words. So similarly, it is highly recommended to refer different research articles under that topic. You may prepare few notes in the form of bullets, and those bullet points also you can include here under introduction and background. But the only thing is you must have written those bullet points or notes in your own words. It doesn't matter if your English is poor or worst. And then what you can do, that you have to simply copy that paragraph or paragraphs into Paperpal's interface. So I'll be pasting that here, and then you have to select this paragraph, and then on the right side you have to click on rewrite. So under rewrite you have multiple options. If you have written in casual English, so you can click on make academic. If you want to get more clear text, then you can click on paraphrase. You can improve fluency, simplify, trim, change tone, etc. So for a while I'll be clicking on paraphrase, and then you have to click on generate. So you can go through this text. You have choice to click on retry. So if I feel that this is the best suited text, then I can click on replace. Now in this introduction and background, generally we include some citations. However, this paragraph is missing citation. So don't worry for that also. Let us say I need to cite some sources for this sentence because I have referred multiple research articles for that. Then you have to select it and you can click on cite. So based on your selections, this Paperpal will suggest most relevant research articles. You can scroll down and you can have also access to the number of citations. So 50 citations, 203 citations. So if I need to cite highly cited research articles, I can consider this and I can click on cite. So similarly, you can provide proper citations within the text of your entire research proposal wherever required. So now the question may be arised in your mind, what about AI score? So most of the times when you will be rewriting your own text by using Paperpal, then you will get very low AI score or rather no AI score. So you can definitely move ahead and explore all these options of this Paperpal. Now the third point is to write about your problem statement and research question. So most of the times for funding research proposals, you may need to include this point as a separate point. However, if you're writing proposals for PhD admission or postdoc positions, then you may need to include this point in the last part of your introduction and background section. So let's see how to write this statement and question. So this would be the two options. Let us say if you are including this problem statement and research question within the introduction and background section, then right after the background review or literature review, in last 1 to 2 paragraphs, we need to include this problem and research question. However, if you are using a separate section, then under that, using subheadings, we can include problem statement and research question. So I have given this for your understanding. So simply this is a kind of background review, means what research has been carried out and still what are the lacunas. So after discussing this in your introduction and background section, in this way you can include your core research problem and research question. Now let's see how we can take help of this Paperpal to write effective problem statement and research question. So you can either prepare your own raw notes, and with the help of that you can create your problem statement or research question, or another option is to consider and select entire introduction and background section in Paperpal and provide specific prompts. So let us discuss about these key points, those we have addressed in our introduction and background. And you can see here I have prepared these rough notes in my own words. Now what I'll do is I'll copy this text. So I will copy this text and paste that into Paperpal's interface, and then in next step you have to simply select these points, you have to click on write, and then you may use this prompt or similar prompts like convert these notes into a concise academically written problem statement followed by a single clear research question. Keep the tone formal and suitable for a research proposal. Do not add any information not provided in my notes to make it specific, and then you can click on enter, and you can see your research problem and research question section is ready. So either you can prefer these rough notes or else directly you can select this paragraphs which you may have written or generated here under this introduction and background section. So you have to again manually go through this text and you need to revise as per your requirements, and then you can click on insert. So after you write your problem statement and finalize your research question, then in next part you have to draft different objectives, and in order to effectively write all these objectives you have to keep this formula in mind: SMART. So your objective must be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound. So let's continue and see how to draft these objectives. So under this write feature of Paperpal, you may use this prompt: refine these goals into SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound objectives, and then submit. And now you can see this, there are total 5 objectives Paperpal has suggested. So it is recommended to go through these objectives manually and you have to revise to make them excellent, and then you can insert into your document. So right after your objectives, in few proposals you may need to include hypothesis. For that you may use this prompt: convert my research question into a testable hypothesis, and then you'll be able to see an excellent testable hypothesis that you can insert into your document. See, here I am considering random format, but definitely you can rearrange these sections as per the format you are using. And now next comes is methodology. So this is again one of the most important points in your research proposal. So you can write methodology section multiple ways by using this Paperpal, but what I'll be personally recommending you to prepare your raw notes or some bullet points, then you can easily transfer all these bullet points into well-structured methodology by using this AI. Let's see which key points you need to take note of while drafting your research methodology. First, research design, sample and population, data collection methods, which tools, instruments you have used, what is your data analysis plan, some ethical considerations and limitations of the method. So I have considered all these points and prepared some raw bullet points for my research. You can take look at these points. So type of study, it is quantitative, number of participants, sampling, duration, data collection, tools I have used Google Forms of surveys and SPSS for analysis, then which analysis is used, ethical considerations and limitations, only mathematics subject considered, only 3 schools involved. Now I'll use this data in order to draft methodology section. So I'll be pasting my data into this Paperpal's interface. You can easily format this font size. So now I'll select this data and I'll be using this prompt. You can see this: convert my bullet point methodology into a well-structured formal academic paragraph, and then keep all details exactly as I have provided without adding new data or making assumptions. Maintain clarity and conciseness. So this is most important because no any additional new data would be included, and hence your AI score will not increase. And then enter, and here you will see well-structured methodology. You have to go through this methodology once again to ensure all the required points have properly included, and again it is recommended to modify or correct this form wherever required, and then you can insert that into your document. So instead of providing this bullet points, you can also write 1 or 2 paragraphs based on the methods you have used, and you may take help of this rewrite feature and in that paraphrase or make academic or change tone. Now the next point is expected outcomes. So this point has a strong influence as far as funding proposals are concerned, and obviously we also need to include that into PhD or postdoc proposals. And now at this moment, as we have drafted all previous sections of our research proposal, then easily in rough words I can write about the expected outcomes of this research project or research proposal, and then you can easily refine those outcomes by using this Paperpal. But still, if you want to take some ideas about these expected outcomes from Paperpal, then also you can do that. So you can use this prompt or similar prompts like suggest expected outcomes for this research proposal and enter, and you can see this Paperpal has suggested several outcomes for this research proposal. So you can only take these outcomes for your reference, and based on that you can frame your actual expected outcomes. So after you finish your expected outcomes, the next point comes is importance or significance of your research. So let me discuss how you can prepare this section. Generally, by considering these few points, you need to write a paragraph of significance or importance of this research project. You must emphasize on its academic, societal and policy importance, and then you can use this prompt, rewrite this paragraph for a research proposal significance section in 3 different academic styles and keep all meaning same and do not add new content. And let us say this is a short paragraph that I'll be considering, which I have written in my own words. So I'm selecting that and I'll be considering this prompt, and here you will get 3 different academic styles. So first one is formal academic, then concise and direct, and then narrative and contextual. So it is recommended to go through all these 3 styles and select best one. So along with these 2 features, means write and rewrite, you can also take help of some other excellent features like research and cite. So during writing, if you want to refer or search some research papers, if you have queries and you want to get answers from reputed research articles, or if you want to cite text, then you can easily do that. If you want to get help about templates, then also you can get outlines, study highlights, summary, plain language summary, keywords, etc. So right after completing your document, if you want to perform some checks, then also you can do that. And also through this edit feature, you can perform several things. Most importantly, you can correct grammatical errors and you can improve consistency of your entire document. Now finally, we will be discussing about last 2 points, which is work plan and budget plan. So you can see this is my activity plan or work plan that I had included in one of my old research proposals. So here you have to first divide your research title into number of sub activities. While doing so, you must stick to your objectives, and then by considering duration, you can prepare that. So you can also divide your main title or topic into these sub activities by using Paperpal, maybe by using a prompt like divide this main title into number of sub activities, so that I can include that into my work plan. Again, let me show you another research proposals work plan. So here also you will find some sub activities and durations. So this is not a funding research proposal, and that is why budget plan is not included. You can just take a look at this research proposal that I had written few years ago to get this visiting doctoral fellowship in some foreign universities. So introduction, background and motivation, which is then followed by concept. Means within that I have introduced my topic, I have included one schematic, then I have drafted my objectives, and then I have included this topic, the importance of the proposed work, which is then followed by work methodology and research plan. So work to be carried out at my institute and at foreign institute, and then activity plan. So I have used this format because they have specifically mentioned about it. So accordingly you may draft your activity plan. Now let us discuss about the last point, and that is budget plan or proposed budget. So within this part, you can divide the activities, means budget head and details, in such a way that it will reach to the final project amount. That does mean if you are applying for a funding of 10 lakh, then you have to divide that 10 lakh smartly. So you may consider all these points that may include different costs, including the methods or instruments you will use, your travel, local visits. If you are hiring something to work under your project, if you are PI, then you can include these costs, stationery, printing, contingency, and you can also include any miscellaneous cost if involved. So in this way you can smartly make use of Paperpal to draft your research proposal. For more discount related information, you can refer to this video description. So friends, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this information will help you. If you have any questions, you can write us through comments. We'll definitely try to answer all these comments. So thank you once again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.